Hello, and welcome to our webinar on Amplify Core Knowledge, Language Arts, otherwise known as CKLA. My name is Candice LeConte, and I'm an Associate Education Consultant with the Center for Literacy Research and Reading Success. This webinar is part of a series in which the center partners with a Connecticut district to showcase their experience in selecting, adopting, and implementing a Connecticut-approved core comprehensive model, program, or compendium. Our goal is for every Connecticut student to be reading at or above grade level independently and proficiently by the end of third grade. In order to make this happen, one of the key features of the Connecticut K-3 literacy strategy is to implement a scientifically based, evidence-based core comprehensive program. This webinar series is designed to assist districts who are in the process of selecting a Connecticut-approved model, program, or compendium to implement. As Walter Payton once said, we are stronger together than we are alone. So what is a comprehensive curriculum? A comprehensive curriculum is complete and includes, but is not limited to, instruction in all areas of reading, including oral language, phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, rapid automatic name or letter name fluency, and reading comprehension. I'd now like to introduce Stafford Public Schools as they discuss Amplify CKLA.
Thank you for inviting Stafford Public Schools to participate in this webinar. We are excited to share our work. My name is Laura Norbit, and I am the Chief Academic Officer for the district. Our Science of Reading journey to implement an approved reading program included two of our district's schools, West Stafford School, which is a NACCE accredited pre-kindergarten and kindergarten school, and Stafford Elementary School, which includes students in grades 1 through 5. I started this position in October, and I am so fortunate to work with an amazing team here in Stafford. The folks on this webinar have worked tirelessly to adopt and implement a new reading program, Amplify CKLA. And as they will discuss, additional members of our district team were part of this process. I am proud to recognize them. On this webinar today, we have Jen Ledbetter, kindergarten teacher at West Stafford School, Adrian D. Pellegrini, grade 2 teacher at Stafford Elementary School, Erin Grasso, K-5 literacy leader, Anna Gagnon, West Stafford School principal, and Mary Claire St. James, Stafford Elementary School principal. I'm going to turn our presentation over to Mrs. Grasso at this point to talk a little bit about Amplify CKLA and why we made this selection.
The Stafford Public Schools used an extensive process when selecting Amplify CKLA. During the 2022-23 school year, our reading task force rated CKLA the highest after our year-long analysis of recommended reading programs. However, this top rating was not the only reason that we ultimately selected Amplify CKLA. In addition to strong ratings from our task force, Ed Reports, and Curate, our team was also impressed that the program was recognized by the Knowledge Matters campaign for the following reasons. It coherently builds knowledge of both words and the world. It has systematic foundational skills instruction until word recognition is automatic. And it provides every student access to content-rich, complex texts. Once Amplify CKLA came out on top, our team also utilized the Reading League's curriculum evaluation tool. We wanted to ensure that the instructional practices used in the program were also aligned with scientific evidence. Amplify has fully articulated how the program supports word recognition, language comprehension, reading comprehension, writing, and assessment. It also connects to M-Class DIBELS, which is our district's universal screener. Elementary teachers in Stafford had been using a collection of different programs for teaching print concepts, phonological awareness, phonics, grammar, and vocabulary. CKLA uses an explicit, systematic, and spiraling approach to skills instruction that directly connects to core instruction and eliminates the need to draw from a number of other resources. It also infuses decodable text and readers directly into skills instruction. With Amplify CKLA, we have also had the opportunity to include our pre-K into our systematic ELA materials, which supports our youngest students' language, literacy, and content knowledge. Pre-K through grade 5 contains high interest, knowledge building domains based around storytelling, science, and social studies. Opportunities for play-based learning can also be easily weaved in. I'll now turn it over to Mrs. St. James, who will discuss our adoption process.
Thank you, Mrs. Grasso. You just explained why we chose to move forward with Amplify CKLA, and I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about our adoption process and the kind of the how of how we got here. And as Mrs. Grasso mentioned, we formed a district reading task force that was comprised of K through 8 general and special education teachers across our primary, elementary, and middle schools, reading interventionists, a multilingual language teacher, and school and district administrators. We met monthly for one school year over the course of that year to review the 6 original programs that were on the state approved list. At these meetings, we looked at student reading materials, teacher manuals. We met with representatives from each program, and we analyzed reports from EdReports Curate. And as Mrs. Grasso mentioned, CKLA came out on top. It was our highly rated program. We also created a district literacy leadership team. This team was comprised of some members from the reading task force as well as other stakeholders from the district. We participated in a CSDE masterclass that was focused on the science of reading, learning about the components of the science of reading and really its importance in supporting student learning. The district literacy leadership team also facilitated a district literacy scan that helped us to create and articulate our vision and identify goals for our district literacy improvement plan. And now we're going to hear from some of the teachers who piloted CKLA in their classrooms about the implementation process.
In November, we began the implementation process by having our 2 piloting teachers from each grade meet with an Amplify CKLA curriculum specialist to start the planning process. This was very beneficial in that it helped ease our minds, it answered all those pre-piloting questions that we had, and it helped us feel more prepared for the start of our pilot. We also had a very informative virtual meeting in November with a school district from Massachusetts that was in year 2 of implementation of Amplify. This was an optional meeting that was made available to all of our teaching staff. I would highly recommend reaching out to another school district who is implementing the curriculum you are considering, because who better to talk to than another teacher who is teaching it. It's a great way to get honest feedback and hopefully could be a great resource for you in the future as well.
And then in December, it was important for us to have caregivers as partners in this process. So communication with families was sent out right from the beginning using our school messenger system, as well as our curriculum conversation on the science of reading for families to attend. We also just held another curriculum conversation for parents to attend this month in May. Just knowing that full implementation was coming in the fall, we wanted to continue to keep families on board with that as well. A few of our staff members also were able to participate in a site visit to see Amplify in action. And all piloting teachers also received 3.5 hours of training with our CKLA curriculum specialist. That was a great chance for us to preview the material, talk about it within our grade level, as well as to see how the curriculum truly builds from pre-K to 5, and really have a close look at all of the materials before we even began.
In January is when the fun began. We came back from Christmas break and started in full swing. To provide time for collaboration, the piloting teachers began meeting together during our planned curriculum meetings. Also in January, the Chief Academic Officer for Stafford Schools provided an opportunity for any teacher in the district to attend an Amplify CKLA workshop in order to expand our knowledge of the science of reading. Piloting teachers were also offered the opportunity to begin meeting with our Amplify CKLA curriculum specialist bi-weekly to discuss any questions, concerns, or to share any celebrations. I personally found these meetings to be very beneficial. We were able to talk with him face to face at these meetings, be able to hear any questions and successes also shared by the other teachers in the other grades as well.
And then in February, we met again as a team, and piloting teachers shared an overwhelmingly positive reviews and student output that we unanimously decided to move forward with a full implementation. As the process unfolded internally, we felt that it was the right decision. But again, we wanted to reach back out to families to ensure that they were on board as well. Piloting teachers then also continued with a coaching session with our Amplify professional developer, where they were able to come to us, visit us in the classrooms, see Amplify in action. They were able to comment on things that we were doing that they thought were great successes. We could ask them questions that we had right there on the spot. And they gave us some tips for improvement as well, and also left some nice little goodie bags for us, which was great. But it was wonderful to have the support throughout the full implementation process.
So as a kindergarten teacher, I have found that my students love the knowledge topics, and these topics align so well with play-based learning. My classroom has been transformed to a garden center, a farm, a castle, and an ice cream shop, which is my personal favorite. We celebrate the end of our units with culminating activities, which have included a royal ball, a field trip to a farm, and nursery rhyme Olympics. My students also enjoy the decodable books that they have read in skills, and I often hear them complain that the stories are too short. Amplify provides slides for skills and knowledge that not only keep the students engaged, but also keep the teacher organized. So it's a win-win.
When planning out our pilot, we also wanted to ensure that each grade level had at least 2 teachers implementing the program. This was advice that we had received both from our pilot specialist and other districts that were currently using the program. As we ventured into CKLA, we quickly found that grade level partners were essential for planning collaboratively, thinking about each unit with the end in mind, and also discussing successes and challenges. Grade level partners found that keeping pace with one another allowed for meaningful co-planning to take place, and also some spectacular end of domain celebrations to be put together. In my position, I saw partners talking together enthusiastically before school, during planning time, even at lunch. This is a group of piloting teachers that was clearly excited about what they were teaching.
One aspect that I greatly appreciate is the high expectation for student learning and work output. For example, something as simple as asking my students to speak and write in complete sentences, to all the way on the other end of being able to compare and contrast the Union and the Confederacy during the US Civil War. So the expectations are tremendous. Students certainly rise to the occasion. And I have found that the manual does a really great job of kind of outlining what some of those expectations might look like in your classroom, specifically what partner work might look like, or small group work, different types of partner reading. They give you some ideas for small group work as well, which was nice to build it into our regular classroom routine. So by now, my students already know that when I'm asking them a question, they are expected to answer both verbally and in writing in a complete sentence. So that has been a huge transformation. Also, since students are exposed to such rich vocabulary, they are now more able to use those words in our speaking and writing. This has had a positive impact on their work output. Their quality of work has improved tremendously because they are now able to write about what we're reading. So we're all reading the same material, or I'm reading aloud to them. We're having conversations about what we're reading. We're using that rich vocabulary. We're talking about our new learning, and students are then able to write about it and produce quality work in that way. So it's much easier for students to share their ideas and produce quality work since everything is so cohesive. Speaking of the student vocabulary and comprehension development, it is continuously building and throughout the the domains. I've even had guests come into our classroom and they look around our room, they see our anchor charts, our vocabulary lists on the wall, our image cards, and they say, what grade is this? And I say second grade, and they're just beyond impressed with the vocabulary that these students are not only exposed to, but are applying to their work and our regular conversations. The vocabulary is very explicitly taught and then used in context in meaningful ways to help students build on their prior knowledge and develop their comprehension. I especially appreciate in the skills units how a lot of the vocabulary is pre-taught prior to reading the decodables. This helps to ensure that all students are on a level playing field in terms of being able to understand some of that tricky vocabulary prior to reading. And the best part is students are making connections. They're able to use their newly acquired vocabulary and knowledge in their speaking and writing, which then helps them to better understand the text that they're reading or listening to.
As our literacy leader, I was well aware that the Stafford Public Schools had been using separate programs in order to provide instruction in all 5 pillars of reading. We had worked diligently to ensure that that our students were receiving core support in all 5 areas of early literacy. So, as an example, in first grade, our teachers were using Heggerty for phonemic awareness, Foundations for phonics, Geode's decodable text for phonics application, fluency practice, vocabulary and knowledge building. And in addition, these classrooms were also implementing reading and writing workshop. A success that I have seen is that Amplify CKLA has allowed us to implement all 5 areas of reading in one integrated program. We're ensuring that our pre-K through 5th grade students move through a systematic and sequenced ELA program. This has allowed us to streamline both our scope and sequence and also our assessment calendar. An additional strength is how vocabulary and comprehension instruction is robust and begins in preschool. Our youngest students are building essential oral language and comprehension skills from the very start.
Caregivers were also able to share feedback throughout a survey that was sent, as well as comments that we received directly from them as classroom teachers. Personally, the families that I have for my 2nd grade students have expressed that they really appreciate the caregiver letters that go home with each domain. Also, as a parent myself, my son is in Mrs. Ledbetter's classroom in kindergarten. They are piloting. And it has been great to have those letters come home as a parent as well. I can see the vocabulary that they're learning. We can help reinforce those concepts at home. It's really helped enrich our conversations at the dinner table or when we're driving around town. And we can really bring the learning home and make it be full circle. So it's wonderful hearing from my son too, and his use and application of the new knowledge that he's learning in school in the real world. So that's been great to see.
And while teaching skills in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, you're also building the students' knowledge and vocabulary and literature, history, and science. One of our district's next tasks will be to look at how we can align what we're teaching in CKLA with the science and social studies state standards. CKLA provides a foundation for learning about the world that actually builds across the grades. For example, in knowledge, pre-K learns about colonial townspeople, kindergarten learns about frontier explorers, 1st grade learns about westward expansion, 2nd grade explores the Civil War, 3rd grade learns about early exploration, 4th grade will learn about American Revolution, and 5th grade, the students will learn about Native Americans. And to hear these topics, they may appear to be overwhelming and honestly, maybe a little boring. For example, our teachers were a little nervous about the 2nd grade students studying the Civil War, especially because it was during the holiday season. However, the teachers expressed that the students were actually very sad that the unit came to an end. So, we have to put aside our own assumptions and what we think the students will enjoy and what we think the students can handle. And it's also how we present the material to our students. If we show interest and enthusiasm towards the topics, then our students will rise to the occasion. On the next slide, we would like to show you some of the pictures. And in kindergarten, we completed 5 of the knowledge units during our pilot. And like I said before, these units align so well with play-based learning. The students really enjoy the themes, and I enjoy finding ways to make the themes come to life in my classroom. So here in one of the pictures, you see my colleague's farmer's market stand during our farm unit. We set up these farmers market stands in our classrooms to allow the students to apply the vocabulary and the knowledge they were learning to their play. Below the farm stand, you'll see an arrow garden that I had in my classroom during our plant unit. Because our plant unit fell during winter, the arrow garden allowed for me to grow the lettuce indoors, and the students were able to have salad 3 times. I'm not sure if they enjoyed the salad or the salad dressing more, but it was a big hit. Also there you will see a Ziploc greenhouse that allowed the students to see the parts of a bean plant as they grew in our classroom windows. There are so many teachers sharing ideas and suggestions and resources like these on different social media platforms online, so I highly suggest you taking advantages of that.
And the pictures that you see from grade 2, that is one example of a vocabulary list that I had created for our Greek myth unit. I use large Post-it notes to cover up the lessons that we have not learned yet. And then as we go, it's a grand reveal of that day. You know, I pull off the sticky note and we review what those vocabulary words are for the day. Having it posted helps also hold us accountable for using them more in our speaking and our writing. We can all kind of glance over at it and kind of be mindful about if we're trying to implement those words throughout our day. And students really look forward to learning the new vocabulary as we go. We especially enjoy setting different movements or hand gestures along with learning the vocabulary. Really having that kinesthetic movement tie in with the vocabulary helps students understand the meaning more. And then when they hear that word in the read aloud and we tie it together with the movement, it really helps them learn that vocabulary more. And then the writing piece underneath was from our skill. We had read a short story of how the hedgehog tricked the hare. And I specifically chose this writing sample because this was from a reluctant writer in the beginning of the year who had a difficult time just forming complete sentences, adding details and elaboration. And this student was so proud of himself, as I was of him. He really grasped the writing process, and Amplify CKLA does a wonderful job using graphic organizers to support students along the way. They have text that they can refer to, lots of built-in collaboration and partnership when it comes to editing and revising. So this was one of his published pieces that he was extremely proud of.
And I think what these images demonstrate is that it's one factor to be able to adopt and implement a program, but our teachers truly have brought their reading instruction to life, and that is a credit to them.
Great, thank you. So as you can see from our previous slides, a lot of thought, time, and hard work has gone into implementing this program. I'm going to share some points to consider when adopting or implementing this program. So visit schools implementing Amplify CKLA. There was a variety of professional learning opportunities that our teachers participated in, such as visiting another district that had adopted Amplify CKLA. We also included learning walks within our own district for staff members to see piloting teachers in their classrooms with their students. Another item to consider in planning for ongoing professional learning opportunities, it was important to provide professional learning for staff during this process. Our teachers were able to visit our piloting classrooms to share that professional learning. Our teachers also received professional development opportunities with representatives from Amplify. There was also opportunities during the school year and future planned professional learning opportunities that allowed staff to unpack the domains. We were deliberate with our planning to ensure our paras were also trained, so we paid them to come in to be trained. This also ensured the program had buy-in from all staff and the program was implemented with fidelity. You'll want to ensure collaborative time for all educators. This was an important piece. In thinking ahead in the implementation process, we ensured every opportunity was focused on the science of reading. Our piloting teachers and non-piloting teachers used PD and PLC time to collaborate and unpack the domains. The piloting teachers turned that group into their own curriculum teams to ensure they had guaranteed times to meet. So you also want to consider incorporating all stakeholder voices. From the start, we ensured the reading task force was represented from the district throughout this process. Throughout the pilot, we were also able to have curriculum conversation with families so that they were part of the process and their voices were heard. We surveyed families of piloting classrooms. We gave piloting teachers opportunities for bi-weekly check-ins, and we came back to the full reading task force, and it was a unanimous decision to move forward with Amplify. One final important piece to consider is deliberate planning and pacing for the implementation. This was not a rush decision for Stafford. It was almost a 2-year process before the district decided to move forward with Amplify. So part of the deliberate planning was that we had 2 teachers per grade level piloting the program, and this was deliberately done so teachers had a collaborative partner. This was also done so that they were not planning in isolation, they were not implementing in isolation, and they had someone else to collaborate and plan with. So in conclusion, every professional learning opportunity, we ensured a guaranteed experience was related to the science of reading.
And as we move forward into the fall, all of our teachers pre-K through the 5th grade will be implementing Amplify CKLA, and that will require ongoing professional learning opportunities. As we know, change is a 3 to 5 year process, and this will be a focus of our professional learning moving forward at the elementary level. We also are considering scheduling opportunities for staff to collaborate, and that includes collaboration during PLC time, during curriculum team meeting time, as well as district professional learning opportunities, so that we're all learning and growing together. In the future, the district may consider co-teaching opportunities specifically for general education teachers and special education teachers to work together. And as we continue through the process, we will be giving staff members opportunities to always plan with the end in mind. So to continue unpacking the domains, thinking about what we want students to know and be able to do at the end of those domains, and then working backwards to plan our lessons accordingly. As we conclude this webinar, I want to thank the members of the team who are on this call today, as well as all of our piloting teachers in Stafford Public Schools and the members of our reading task force and district literacy team. There has been a tremendous amount of time and effort and dedication that has gone into this process, and I'm so fortunate to be part of this work here in Stafford. If other districts have questions or concerns about the process as they examine reading programs, please feel free to contact me. My email and phone number in Stafford Public Schools is listed on this slide. And I want to thank the state, the CSDE, and Candace LeConte for providing this opportunity for Stafford Public Schools to share our learning and our process with Amplify CKLA. Thank you.